Solving the mysteries of our natural world is no easy task, especially as humans are forced to battle the earth and natural elements that surround us at all times. Whether it be unforgiving weather burying clues to a missing individual's whereabouts or the vast expanse of space itself, it is always astonishing when we are able to make discoveries in spite of it all. So today, here at Unexplained Mysteries, we will be going over 3 amazing recent discoveries and discussing just how much they impact our lives, as well as the lives of those involved. Rudy Moda found in Rocky Mountains. When people go missing in the mountains, all too often they are never seen or heard from again. The inhospitable terrain and bracing elements make it incredibly difficult for search and rescue teams to operate effectively, and once a certain amount of time has elapsed, the fruitless searches must be called off. This was the case with Rudy Moda, a 27-year-old West German man living in Fort Collins, Colorado, who went missing in 1983. Moda, who was an experienced mountaineer, went missing while on a 3-night trip over Thunder Pass and into Rocky Mountain National Park, and was reported missing by his roommate. Because of the bitter winter weather that blanketed the Rocky Mountains at the time when he was reported missing, the search for Rudy Moda was expansive and lasted for several days as rescuers battled time and the elements in the hopes of finding and getting Moda out alive. When these efforts proved unsuccessful, the search had to be called off, but were reinstated by both land and air once the snow melted the following spring and into the summer. Although search teams did discover a food cache and a snow cave with his sleeping bag, these small clues never led them to Rudy, and his whereabouts were never discovered. Fast forward almost 40 years to August 2020, when a hiker reported finding skeletal remains near the site of an avalanche. However, because the authorities at the time were occupied with massive wildfires and high snowfalls in the region, they were not able to complete the recovery of the remains until the following summer in 2021. The FBI Evidence Response Team worked with the park rangers of Rocky Mountain National Park to recover the remains, and as they did so, they discovered skis, poles, boots, and several personal items that likely belonged to Moda and potentially solving a decades-long mystery. Although the Grand County Coroner's Office was unable to positively identify the remains as Moda's based on dental records, the presence of the personal items has led investigators to believe that the remains are indeed Moda's, allowing his family to receive closure as to what happened to him in the intervening decades. The officials with Grand County and the Rocky Mountain National Park have been working with the German government in order to coordinate the repatriation and family notification of the remains so that Rudy Moda can be given a proper burial at long last. Rudy Moda is not the first person to go missing in the US national parks, not by a long shot. Although there is no definitive count of how many people per year go missing in the national parks, the National Park Service currently has 29 cold cases within the wilds of the parks. Some estimates put the total number of missing people within the national parks as high as 1,600 or more. Often, missing individuals are recovered after several years with no indication of what caused them to go missing in the first place, and the circumstances surrounding their discovery contradict the prevailing theories of their disappearance. Because of the truly wild and unpredictable nature of the forests and mountains of the national parks, it is uncertain whether we will ever discover what truly happened to cause Rudy Moda and so many others to never be seen or heard from again. Men rescued after weeks stranded at Alaska fish camp. If there is one thing that you cannot count on, it's the weather. It is unpredictable, especially in the inhospitable regions of western Alaska. Nome and Emmenak are 2 areas in this region that are near the coast of the Bering Sea and were the settings of a recent air rescue performed by the US Coast Guard in early November of this year. On October 25th, a group of 7 men set out from Emmenak, which is a small city of about 800 people in the southwestern region of Alaska, in order to spend several days at a fish camp about 20 miles to the east. The area outside of Emmenak does not have roads and is not easily traversed, but the men were on a mission to hunt and fish to provide food for the pilot station village, along with another neighboring village. However, the hard-to-traverse terrain became their enemy after only a few days, and on October 28th, the Yukon River iced over unexpectedly and stranded them at the fish camp at the mercy of the unforgiving Alaskan elements. Luckily, the men were experienced outdoorsmen and had embarked on their trip equipped with plenty of supplies and an InReach device, which allowed them to notify the authorities of their predicament via satellite communication. Unfortunately, due to several layers of freezing fog, the weather conditions were so bad that the rescue teams were not able to get out to the stranded men for several days, as air rescue crews were grounded. Finally, after 2 US Army helicopters had been reached to attempt to perform the rescue, a US Coast Guard MH-60 Jayhawk helicopter was able to take off from Nome, a city about 130 miles away. They had been stranded at the fish camp for a week before they were rescued, which was much longer than they had intended to stay, and their supplies were running dangerously low. Luckily, as they awaited a rescue helicopter that would be able to brave the wintry weather in order to airlift them to safety, a cargo search and rescue aircraft was able to parachute drop sufficient supplies to allow the men to avoid going hungry during the final days before their eventual rescue. They were also able to remain in contact with their rescuers through the InReach device, so they could be kept abreast of the rescue efforts. The men were then transported back to Nome and are reportedly in good health, if a little shaken, after their unexpected adventure. The wilds of Alaska are a harsh environment at the best of times, and not one that you want to get stranded in. But luckily, the men were able to come out on the other side unharmed. Element found in bones and teeth detected 12 billion light-years away. Although it might seem as though human beings and the planet on which we reside do not have that much in common with the limitless expanse of the cosmos, which stretches infinitely and supposedly for now lifelessly beyond our atmosphere, this is not altogether true. In fact, because the cosmos forged our Earth, traces of all of the elements within our bodies still exist scattered across the solar system. As scientists discover these small traces of elements, they can get a better idea of how the universe was formed and the overall life cycle of the resulting celestial bodies. Recently, researchers working at the European Southern Observatory uncovered fluorine, which is commonly found in our bones and teeth, in a large mass of gaseous clouds in a galaxy about 12 billion light-years away. This means that the light from this galaxy that we are viewing is 12 billion years old and is giving scientists a picture of what the universe was like at the young age of only 1.4 billion years. This discovery is significant because it is the earliest example of fluorine in a star-forming galaxy within the universe. Because fluorine is created within the core of stars and emitted when they eventually fade, and these faint clouds of fluorine radiation were discovered at fairly early points in the timeline of the universe, scientists theorize that these early fluorine-producing stars lived fast and fade away young. When it comes to the relative lifespan of the cosmos, which is almost 14 billion years old, a star fading young means that it likely only lived a brief few million years at the most. Scientists speculate that these early fluorine-producing stars were massive Wolf-Rayet stars that burn out quickly in supernova explosions. It seems that the creation of fluorine through the expiration of these stars likely is the reason that fluorine exists in our bodies at all. Scientists believe that these Wolf-Rayet stars produced massive amounts of the element that is now so common in our bones and teeth during the earliest days of the creation of the universe. However, what they do not know is just how early fluorine entered the playing field, and it seems that this galaxy's production is rather remarkable. Chiaki Kobayashi, a professor at the University of Hertfordshire, said that for this galaxy, it took just tens or hundreds of millions of years to have fluorine levels comparable to those found in stars in the Milky Way. Our measurement adds a completely new constraint on the origin of fluorine, which has been studied for 2 decades. So it seems that we may have early Wolf-Rayet stars to thank for our excellent dental compositions as scientists continue to probe the outer reaches of the universe in order to discover other fascinating clues such as this. But what do you make of these recent amazing discoveries? Be sure to let us know your thoughts in the comment section below and help us by growing this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.